Greetings, and let's hope this visit brings further good tidings. I'm going to start with Bharat Barai ji. Dr. Bharat Barai, you've had a hectic and very tension-filled last 2 or 3 months. It was all aimed at a big diaspora event in Chicago. Finally, you've got the Reagan Center, last-minute confirmations, 1,000 seating capacity, and there will be nearly 100,000 people vying for those 1,000 seats. So take us through what's planned and how important is PM Modi's visit this time around, Dr. Barai.
PM Modi is a people's prime minister. He has kept very good relationship with the diaspora all over the world, including United States. We had the honor and the opportunity and privilege of hosting at Madison Square Garden, which launched his international recognition. And if I caught President Obama and Secretary of State John Kerry, Mr. Prime Minister, we cannot match the rock star reception that you received at Madison Square Garden. Ever since then, there is a bonhomie between the Prime Minister and the diaspora, whether it is in Australia, whether it is in England, whether it's in Canada, whether it's in France, whether it's in Denmark, whether it's in Germany, and of course in the United States. The diaspora has been working very actively for India, and seeing that the Prime Minister is very actively working for India to try to make India a much better country. He wants to take it to the level of a developed country, and in every sphere he is working tirelessly, and we as diaspora want to join him in whatever way we can do to help the living standard of India people.
What is the biggest expectation, Dr. Barai, before I bring in Arun ji and the rest of the other guests? Quick question with you, sir. What is your biggest expectation as representing the Indian diaspora in the US?
We have asked the Prime Minister the topic of his talk to us, the role of diaspora in the growth story of India. So he can advise us, he can guide us, what can the diaspora do for India? I mean, lots of people are doing many good things to try to elevate the status of India, and the diaspora has been active both financially. As you know, the diaspora contribute or they remit almost $100 billion to India every year from different parts of the world. In addition, as far as the US diaspora is concerned, they actively educate the congressmen and senators, and when it comes to bills, either it is anti-India bills, some people try to play mischief in US Congress also, and that's the time the diaspora work very actively. And if you remember in 2008, when the nuclear treaty was brought before the US Congress, it was called Dead on Arrival. It had only support of 200 Republican members or little less than that, and no Democratic support.
Right.
Same way in US Senate. And it was diaspora that made it possible. And it was Prime Minister then Manmohan Singh who said, if it was not for Indian diaspora, the nuclear treaty bill would not have passed the US Congress. So diaspora works in many ways, and a lot of it is working with the congressmen and senators. And I give credit to all our Indian Americans all over the USA.
Dr. Barai, please stay on with us. Arunji, thank you very much. Ambassador, if I may ask you, for you, what is the biggest highlight or perhaps the biggest box that you would want ticked by the time Prime Minister Narendra Modi takes off from the US of A towards Egypt?
We would hope that some of the decisions that are being anticipated, for example, decision related to the GE jet engine, decision related to semiconductors, some additional decisions related to cooperation in critical and emerging technologies, some decisions related to future path for defense cooperation. If clear decisions and paths forward are identified and announced for those, I think that will be certainly a major achievement. Of course, before that, the visit in itself is a significant achievement. You referred to the interview that the Prime Minister gave to Wall Street Journal, where he spoke about India playing a greater role in global affairs, commensurate with its size and weight. And I think this visit will certainly contribute to that process the fact that the US has decided to make it an official state visit. This is only the third state visitor of the Biden administration. And also that the US Congress has decided to invite the Prime Minister to address a joint session for the second time.
Yes.
And very few global leaders have been given this kind of an opportunity to address a joint session of Congress twice. And reflecting the broad bipartisan support in the US political system and in Congress among Republicans and Democrats for the India relationship. So I think clear decisions to advance specific areas of cooperation, clear recognition that US recognizes that India will play a greater role in global affairs and is supportive of that role. I think those would be key decisions and important outcomes from the visit.
But managing equations with America for India is not going to be easy. Are we going to tilt away from Russia? So far, that kind of alignment, Arun Singh ji, has not been easy because America will expect a lot in return. It's not easy to be friends of America. That's what many people believe. Many experts say that you'd rather be an enemy of America than be its friend. There's a very geopolitical view that says that. Where do you stand?
Well, sure. Some experts say one thing and some experts say exactly the other.
Gee.
So recently there was an article which said that India was a bad bet for the US. And there was another article which said that India was the best bet for the US. So there are views and views. But clearly, I think if you look at the current global situation, there is an intense geopolitical competition going on between US, Russia, and China. And what India needs to do, keeping in mind its own interests and its comprehensive national interests, is to build further the relationship with the United States, sustain the relationship with Russia, and strengthen itself to deal with the challenge from China. And in this process, US will be an important partner. And it's not a question of tilting towards one or the other. It's a question of building partnerships where you strengthen yourself. And most countries in international relations do not do relationship based on either or. Countries that have a relationship with India don't say that they are not going to have a relationship with Pakistan. They have it each, depending on how their national interest plays out. And similarly, US has a difficult relationship with China, but still wants to maintain some discussion, dialogue going on with China. So I think if we are consolidating the relationship with the US, because it is our largest trading partner, largest investment partner, largest single country presence of Indian origin diaspora, a country that is supportive of India's rise. And US has said that they see the rise of India to be in US interest. They see India as a net security provider in the region. They are ready to provide and partner with India at higher levels of technology. That's an opportunity we must seize. But that doesn't mean that we are tilting away or tilting towards it.
Right.
I think India is taking actions and decisions that will be of use to India from its own national interest point of view.
But that's